Good evening, Wadia. My name is BabbeyJane Happyjack. Can't see. I'm from the community of Waswanipi, and it's located up north, James Bay. So I wrote down all my notes here, so I'll probably be reading for a little while, and please don't mind. Okay, I live half my life outside the reserve, attending school in the city under foster care, whom were non-indigenous, and the other half in the Cree community. The first 5 years of my youth, I spent them living traditionally in the bush with my grandparents from 0 to 6 years old, about 6 years old. So the reason why that I had to live my natural environment, which was living traditionally, it's because I had to attend school. So for me, my first day of school, I remember it was culturally shocking, and my mom registered me to a non-indigenous school. So seeing faces that doesn't look like me felt really strange for my age, and the sense of belonging was gone. So, so let me explain to you a bit how I live. So in the summer, we spent a lot of time by the lake. Since I was young, so I spent time swimming, enjoying the outdoor play as a kid, and on the lake for fishing with my grandparents. Fall would be moose hunting season, and during that time, we'd get to eat a lot of wild meat, which was great. Winter came around, my grandparents would go grab rabbit snaring, so I remember the smell of the wild meat when my grandmother would fix the meat. And finally, when spring came around again, the hunt for geese began, and so the fishing season again. Unfortunately, that lifestyle is not for everybody anymore. A lot of community members who don't have the luxury to afford a boat, a truck, a cabin to stay, are often the ones who remains on the reservation. Many of them are youth, whom are supposed to be the future Cree trappers and hunters. Sadly, in a way, I became sedentary because I had a loss of culture during the time that I was in school. So that was one of the main reasons why that at 16 years old, I grabbed my bags and I told myself, it's time for me to go home. So for home for me was back to my community. So the impact of colonization are visible every day within our communities. Our residential school survivors are still among us. Unfortunately, excuse me, it's really hard to think about this. Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't speak of this very often. While I'm here, I'm usually schooling and doing my thing. Okay. Unfortunately, the scars inflicted on our parents and grandparents are still deep, and the younger generation presently are living in the aftershock trauma. Okay, I'm very sorry. I am the granddaughter of traditional grandparents who passed away from diabetes when I was 6 years old. I am also the daughter of a non-functioning alcoholic father and a schizophrenic drug addict mother. Gosh. I didn't know I was gonna cry. I recited this so many times at home and I didn't even cry. I'm sorry. So my both parents lost their indigenous identities because of unsolved self-love problems. The school who killed the Indians and the native child have not just hurt them, but destroyed their sense of belonging in this journey on earth. I still love them very much. I just know they haven't healed properly, and numbing their pain was their way of coping. So, at 16 years old, I made the decision of moving back within my people and find myself again. Having 5 siblings and being the only sister in the family was really hard. I've taken a lot of responsibilities. Cooking, cleaning, and caregiving were one of my many assets. The communities, the reason why that I've gained these assets at such a young age is because I grew up having absent parents that were coping with their everyday struggles because of what they lived in their past. I didn't have a youth like many non-Indigenous people, but education is very important in the non-Indigenous world, so we were forced to go through this. I went through trauma. My trauma was very different from my parents', but my parents' trauma was very, very, very harsh. So the communities grow rapidly, and the demand of service within children are in high demands. So I gave my name to help. When someone would ask me, I was always ready to give my time and energy. The love and smile given back from the children was my satisfaction. I worked 10 years as coordinating childcare facilities, substituting in school, 3 years as a full-time foster mom of 3 children, and hosted a fitness program for over 5 years. Multitasking and holding multiple jobs at the same time became a piece of cake for me. I was just thriving and full of energy. I just wanted to make a change in people's lives. Don't get me wrong, I went crazy many times because those kids I kept, oh boy. But I brushed it off and move on to the next thing. Challenges were, it became easier over time because I knew something big was coming up to the next. At a young age, I was aware of the social impact when I moved on the reservation. I did got into drugs at one point and partying because numbing my pain at the time was my way of coping as a young teenager. The day I found out I was pregnant, yes, indeed, I got pregnant at a young age. I was 19 years old. It shifted my world upside down. I quickly made healthier choices for the sake of my unborn child. Another problem I struggled with was food addictions because I quit everything, cigarettes and the other kind of smoke. I turned into food because I didn't know how to cope with it. So I gained a lot of weight during my pregnancy, and I remember it was really hard for me because I started feeling feelings again because I was so used to just numbing it and moving on to the next thing. I figured there was some sacrifice to make once again to better my health. I started jogging daily. That was after my pregnancy, sorry. And that was 260 pounds at the time when I started jogging. And I remember people in my community would drive by really slowly and just stare at me like I was an alien. And but I didn't give up there. So I remember that I purchased books in order to learn about eating healthy and exercising and what should I do. And it was really, really helpful. People, so during many years of getting involved with health and fitness program within my community, it helped me cope with all my life struggles, stress, anxiety, depression, and self-harm disorder. I've healed my negativity that was haunting me. I delivered myself from the pain and hurt. Exercising regularly has made me become a better person and gave me the energy to accomplish many projects in my community. Instructing part-time for the women of Waswanipi has benefited a lot of other women who battle health problems too. I had some women that would come to my classes and would ask me, BabbeyJane, do you have some time alone? And I said yes. I always love helping people or making them feel better because I know how it is to go through this. So I had students telling me I won't be coming because I'm taking care of my dying mother. And then I was like, take your time. You don't have to be here if you have to. And the woman would tell me, I want to because this is what makes me feel better on a daily. And just having somebody telling me this gave me satisfaction. I was like, if I could change someone's life, that's my pay at the end of the day. The reality our communities are facing are sorry, I'm switching to another conversation now. One thing about we indigenous people struggle on the reservation is the high price food. To eat healthy is very costly. And the reality our communities are facing, yes, is the high price food and the decline of wild meat abundance. It's a luxury to afford both of them. Our elders are getting old and many faces their next worries, paying bills, because a lot of indigenous live sedentary now. A lot will turn to a quick fix, so they will buy affordable foods, and a high percentage will buy high processed foods because vegetables and fruits are just so expensive. It's an everyday battle our people faces. For 10 years, I've sacrificed myself on making that extra dollar to afford a healthier lifestyle for my family. It is a cycle that I want to continue living in. I chose no. This is why I'm currently back in school full-time, away from my community. I'm still a breastfeeding mom. I continue being a gym participant and a spouse at the same time. I've even got my life partner on the fitness wagon, and he did notice a visible change in his mood and spirit. He's also going to school here with me. I believe each sacrifices we made will benefit ourselves and children on the long run. I want to live long. I want to see my grandchildren play in my house and drive me crazy, just like those kids that I used to keep. I love when the house is full of joy and laugh. I want to see my children be parents and live traditionally, so this is why that I'm making these sacrifices. Life is a never-ending workload. Giving up is not an option. Thank you. Big witch.